Hey, did you hear about that emergency situation downtown yesterday?
Yeah, I heard there was a fire at the apartment complex. It must have been terrifying for the residents.
Definitely. Emergencies like that can happen so suddenly. It's important to know what to do in those situations.
Absolutely. Knowing how to react can save lives, like remembering to call emergency services immediately.
Right, and it's crucial to stay calm and follow their instructions. I remember when I had to call 911 for a medical emergency last year.
Oh, wow. What happened?
My neighbor had a severe allergic reaction. His throat started swelling up and he was having trouble breathing.
That sounds terrifying. What did you do?
I stayed with him and called 911 right away. The dispatcher guided me through performing CPR until the paramedics arrived.
You did the right thing by acting quickly. It's so important to be prepared for emergencies like that.
And it's not just medical emergencies. Knowing how to report a crime is crucial too.
Absolutely. If you witness a crime or even just suspect something suspicious, it's important to report it to the authorities.
Right? Like last month, I saw someone breaking into a car in the parking lot. I immediately called the police.
That's good. Reporting crimes helps keep our communities safe. It's a civic responsibility.
And when you report a crime, it's important to provide as much information as possible to help the authorities.
Exactly. Details like descriptions of the suspect, their vehicle, and the location can make a big difference in catching them.
And it's not just about reporting crimes or medical emergencies. Natural disasters also require quick action.
That's true. Knowing what to do during earthquakes, floods, or storms can save lives.
Right? Like having an emergency kit prepared with essentials like water, food, and first aid supplies.
And having a plan in place for evacuation or finding shelter if needed.
It's all about being proactive and prepared for any emergency situation that may arise.
Being informed and ready to act can make all the difference in the outcome of an emergency.
Speaking of being prepared, I recently took a first aid course. It was really eye-opening.
That sounds like a great idea. What did you learn?
Oh, all sorts of things. From basic wound care to CPR techniques. It made me feel much more confident in handling emergency situations.
That's impressive. I've been meaning to take a course like that myself. It seems like such valuable knowledge to have.
You never know when you might need it. Like the other day, I was hiking and came across someone who had twisted their ankle on the trail.
Oh no, what did you do?
Well, thanks to the first aid course, I was able to properly assess the injury and stabilize their ankle until help arrived.
That's fantastic. Your preparedness really made a difference.
It felt good to be able to help, and it made me realize how important it is for everyone to have at least basic first aid knowledge.
I'll definitely look into taking a course soon. So, besides first aid, have you ever been in any other emergency situations?
Actually, yes. A few years ago, I was in a car accident. It was really scary.
Wow, that must have been terrifying. How did you handle it?
Well, fortunately, no one was seriously injured, but it was chaotic with cars honking, people shouting, and debris everywhere. I called emergency services right away and followed their instructions while waiting for help to arrive.
It's amazing how quickly things can escalate. I'm glad you knew what to do.
Me too. It's made me realize the importance of staying calm and focused in emergencies, no matter how chaotic things may seem.
Absolutely. Your experiences really highlight the importance of preparation and quick thinking in emergency situations.
It's something we should all take seriously and be proactive about. Who knows when we might find ourselves in a situation where our actions can make a difference?
That's so true. Thanks for sharing your experiences and insights. It's been a really informative conversation.
Likewise, it's always good to talk about these things and learn from each other. You never know when it might come in handy. So, speaking of being prepared, have you ever had to deal with a natural disaster?
Well, thankfully, I haven't experienced anything too extreme, but I did live through a pretty intense storm last year.
Oh, wow. That must have been scary. How did you handle it?
It was definitely nerve-wracking, especially when the power went out. But luckily, I had prepared an emergency kit with flashlights, batteries, and some non-perishable food, so we were able to stay safe until the storm passed.
That's smart thinking. Having those essentials on hand can make a huge difference during a crisis.
And it got me thinking about the importance of having a plan in place for emergencies. Like, what would you do if there was a sudden evacuation order?
That's a good question. I suppose it would depend on the situation. But having a designated meeting place for family members and knowing evacuation routes are definitely important steps to take.
It's something I've been meaning to discuss with my family, just to make sure we're all on the same page in case of an emergency.
It's always better to be safe than sorry. And having those conversations ahead of time can help alleviate some of the panic if an emergency does occur.
Definitely. So, besides preparing emergency kits and having a plan, do you have any other tips for staying safe during emergencies?
Well, one thing I've found helpful is staying informed, whether it's through news updates, weather alerts, or community notifications. Being aware of what's happening around you can help you make better decisions in a crisis.
That's a great point. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to staying safe during emergencies.
Exactly. And it's also important to reach out for help if you need it. Whether it's calling emergency services, asking a neighbor for assistance, or seeking shelter in a designated safe zone, don't hesitate to reach out if you're in danger.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that you're not alone in an emergency, and there are people and resources available to help you through it.
Well, it's been a really enlightening conversation. Thanks for discussing emergency preparedness with me.
Of course, it's a topic that's always worth discussing, especially given how unpredictable life can be. Stay safe out there.